Hello, everyone. This is All Movied Up, where I am all movied up. My name is Parker Normand, and usually I would have a second person say their name. That would be Russell Schechtel, but he is unfortunately not here. We tried to record this video together one time already. It didn't work out because there was fists flying. There was the police and a canine unit there. That's how intense it got because we have very different opinions about the Scream movies. Yes, that's right. We are going to be ranking the Scream movies, all seven of them, to tell you which ones are good and which ones are actually bad. I know a lot of people tend to either love or hate these movies. They are very, very polarizing. We will also be posting Russell's Scream ranking alongside this video at the same time. So if you really hate me that much, you guys can go look at his because I know that after I post this video, I will be killed and eaten by Scream fans because of this ranking. Working from bottom to top, worst to best, I'm starting with Scream 5. Let's just put this simply, okay? If Scream is like a water park, then Scream 5 is like a water park, but all the water has been replaced with sewage. It does what Scream 1 did, but just worse in every single way. The acting is pretty bad, apart from Jenna Ortega, who's actually a pretty decent actor. Other than that, everyone else is practically wooden. They get stabbed. There's no reaction, especially the older sister, the new main character. I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she would get stabbed, or maybe she would get slashed or beat up, and not really have a reaction. She would just kind of blank stare into the camera. Same thing. She doesn't show emotion well with like being sad. She's showing or she's sharing an emotional part of her past. So I didn't really enjoy her as a new final girl. The other people too, I find extremely obnoxious a lot of the time. Like the brother and the sister they're the nephews of Randy. I feel like one of them is a huge douchebag and one of them is a huge wannabe. The lady thinks she's the most clever motherfucker of all time, and it pisses me off. Those people I didn't enjoy. I think her name is Mindy. Mindy could not stop talking about nothing. She basically repeats what Randy said. She also loves spilling the beans about every single thing that's going to happen in this movie. So basically, you're not surprised by anything. She's constantly just giving you the quick fucking heads up that, oh, this is going to happen about 5 minutes or so. So I didn't enjoy that. I don't like the heads up. And overall, with Scream movies, they constantly pull you out of the movie. There's always times where I feel like I'm finally getting into the movie. I actually feel like I'm within it and I'm enjoying it. And then I get reminded that I'm watching a movie over and over and over again. And, after about 37 times, that can kind of get a little bit old. And on the topic of Mindy, she has this set of rules like Randy, but worse because her rules kind of collapse in on themselves. Like, one is never go anywhere alone, right? You got to always go with a buddy somewhere. But then she follows up one with number two, which is don't trust anyone. So I don't know how we're able to kind of follow these rules because one contradicts number two and vice versa. So you're basically constantly breaking the rules in this movie, which isn't too fun either. That means the predictability is always going to be very high. And on the topic of Ghostface, there's not much Ghostface action. I feel like he's always just kind of lurking, or maybe he's just kind of creeping on people a little bit. He's not really slashing. Yeah, I mean, in the hospital, there are a couple good slash scenes. And it's going to sound weird, but I did enjoy when Dewey finally dies. I mean, that guy got stabbed like 10,000 times in the previous 18 movies, and he was totally fine afterwards. He even had a limp for some of the earlier movies, and then that just kind of disappeared in this movie. So I feel like he's a little too superhuman for these movies. So it was actually refreshing to see a main character die for once in a movie, and especially the Scream movies where they're constantly baiting you that someone died and then they don't die every single time. And with all the minimal action, I feel like there's so much extra nothing just happening in this movie. Like, they'll end up talking about other movies so often and trying to be so meta so much of the time where you can't even enjoy the movie, which goes back to my point of I feel like I'm getting pushed out of the movie constantly. They just remind me that there are other movies that are better than this one. And every time one of the daughters looks in the mirror or has a reflection of some sort, Skeet Ulrich's deep faked face is standing right behind her, breathing in her ear. So I think on that front, it's a little bit stupid as well. This movie just didn't do what I wanted it to do or what I expected it to do. I thought it was going to be just an amplified version of Scream, the original Scream, and it really kind of wasn't. It tried to flip the script a little too much, and it just didn't really work out on what they were trying to do with making you feel bad for the new main characters, and the main characters also didn't really act too well, and with Ghostface not really being in the movie as much as I wanted to. There was not a ton of action. I feel like I wasn't really watching a slasher. I was watching more of like a Disney movie where it was just kind of making me depressed a lot of the time for no reason. So that's why it ranks number 7. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Scream 3. I know, it's not really going to be a surprise to anyone. I feel like very few people like this movie. There's nothing that great about it. Scream 1 and Scream 2 are way better than it, so I don't really know why you would choose this over the other ones. It doesn't take place in Woodsboro even. The main problem with this one, honestly, is tries to be too serious. It doesn't really work because if you try to put meta within a serious movie, it ends up becoming kind of lame and you don't really get into it still, because if it's a serious movie, that's fantastic. I love serious movies. But then if you add in some cheesy, corny joke about trilogies in there, then it makes it way less serious. So you're basically just undoing what the entire movie was supposed to be doing. And the whole idea of them being on a movie set and the killer is killing everyone within the order of the stab movie or whatever fucking stab they're on, stab 10 or whatever, it didn't really hold up too well because it wasn't very consistent on doing that. It was like, okay, it's killing people in the movie order of the stab movies. Okay, great. When did it continue that? It kind of did it in the beginning when they alluded to it or when they kind of mentioned it, and then that kind of went away. They never really talked about it again after that. They never mention it. They never reference it either. So I feel like that they just kind of forgot that was happening. As long as we're talking about dead parents, Sydney sees her dead mom every once in a while in a bed sheet walking around. So I don't actually know if that's Ghostface trying to fuck with her, or if that's actually something she's seeing or hallucinating, or if that's real, like a real apparition. So I couldn't tell you because that was way too confusing for me. I feel like that's another thing that didn't really touch on at all. So I kind of wanted to understand what was happening there, but they never brought it up. And also, I thought the whole point of a Scream movie was there's supposed to be two killers. The big twist at the end of this one is there's one killer. It's a twist within a twist. So it's not that clever. People are like, oh, there's only one, there's only one. I'm like, well, there's only one killer in like every other movie. So I don't know. I didn't find it to be that amazing. People were like freaking out about it. I thought it was pretty average. I will say though, this Ghostface is probably the best Ghostface. I say probably, I'll mention why later. Because I feel like he's the most coordinated and just the best at being a slasher. Ghostface in general is not a very good slasher. I mean, Russell said this in his video where he was talking about how he's goofy, he's silly, he stumbles around, he's basically a stumbling boob everywhere he goes. I agree with that 100%. But in Scream 3, I feel like they flipped that a little bit, which was actually a really good twist. I like how they didn't make him completely useless at doing everything. He was actually a very scary person or a very scary killer within the Ghostface mask. So that's something I seriously enjoyed. And I like how they change it up. I know it's all about the knife and stabbing and slashing, which is fine. But, you like a change up once in a while. I love how they made the house blow up. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was entertaining. I thought it was kind of funny how they got into it, about how the guy reads the script on the paper and it says house explodes or whatever, and then the house explodes right in front of him. And that was a pretty epic house explosion. I guess Scream in essence is Scream because it's meta, and I know a lot of people are like, duh, yeah, but I mean, if you watch 3, then you kind of realize how much it doesn't work because it is a really lame and dull slasher if you don't have that meta part, if you don't have it's kind of making you aware or it's self-aware in essence. But doesn't mean I didn't mean what I said for the last one, for 5. I feel like 5 just does it way too much the other way. So the ratios so far are not the best. I feel like 5 was way too meta, 3 was not meta enough, or it wasn't self-aware enough. And can we please not have so much time in between kills. There is so much waiting around, and it is so tiring after so much time. You feel like you're just waiting for something to happen. You're waiting, 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 waiting. Okay, some small thing happens. Waiting, 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 waiting. It gets very tedious after the fifth time it happens. It doesn't get into the meat of the movie. It doesn't get into the meat of the slasher that it's supposed to be, which is probably my biggest problem with this movie. Coming in at number 5, we have Scream 6. I know a lot of people are going to think I'm a weirdo, which I'm kind of used to. Anyway, with Scream 6, I feel like it honestly had probably the best gore and the best kills because Ghostface in this movie is another really, really good Ghostface because he is such a psychopath in this movie. He will go around and just kill and slash anyone. The scene that stands out to me the most, honestly, is within the grocery store, or it's more of like a gas station or convenience store. And the girls are running away from him, and they go inside, and he goes inside following them. The guy in line kind of gets in his face, and then Ghostface just starts killing people left and right, just slashing them. Also, the shotgun I thought was fantastic. Again, they're kind of using the killer a little bit more. They're not limiting him to this tiny little knife. Again, I understand. I like the knife. That's the whole point of him. That's his weapon. You know, every killer has their weapon. He has the knife, but it's good to see a change up with that as well. I like, again, he just ends up being just like the most ruthless of them all. Not the most skilled, even though they do end up to be, it ends up being a cop and their kids, or his kids. But I feel like just the psychotic nature of Ghostface in this one is way better. Again, not the most skilled, but they ended up entertaining me. Probably one of the best times out of the movies. There's one other movie that stands out to me. I won't tell you yet, but that is my opinion on Ghostface in that movie. And at this point, with this movie, Scream 6, it is the same exact charade, just over and over and over again. Again, it's 6 movies of the exact same thing with a tiny change here. Maybe it's better, maybe it's way worse. It doesn't really matter because it's just the same thing. I mean, I don't know how people aren't sick of the same formula over and over and over again. It's 6 movies of the same thing. Why? I mean, why not just have 2 or 3? I feel like a trilogy is fine. And they were just going to do a trilogy, but they decided to come back with 4, which I didn't hate 4. But I mean, come on. I mean, like, again, 6 movies is just too many. Like, you got to change something up once in a while. I mean, something more than just how you kill or how you do or whatever it may be. You got to change up how the movie works a little bit. Scream 6 also took way too long, again, to just get into the meat of the movie. Like, nothing was happening for so long. It was just based on the sisters, and I don't care about anything. It's just, I've just found it to be like so uninteresting for such a long time, especially during the beginning. When stuff actually starts happening, sure, that's fine. I mean, like the opening scene in 6 isn't too bad either. I like how that is a little bit of a change up in itself. Like any change up I like, I love. I'll just take that in because I feel like it's something that's a little bit different from the 5 other movies that they did. And they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, people like formulas, but I like how they tried to show Ghostface. They actually did show Ghostface. I like how they showed Ghostface as a killer as Flash from Spider-Man. I like how he ended up being the killer, right at the beginning. You find out who it is. Oh, this is interesting. It's cool. You feel a little bit more engaged. And then it goes back to his apartment, and then there's a real Ghostface killer who killed his buddy in crime, and he's gonna kill him. Up to that point is fine, but everything else, maybe like 10, 15, even maybe like 20 minutes after that, is not interesting. So it's kind of like a waste of time and doesn't really match up to the rest of the movie. It's just a lot of blah, 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 and then that's it. And then it kind of gets into the movie after that. But again, the movie following up as a movie isn't the best. I thought Ghostface was good, violence was good, pretty good gore, kills were good. But that's pretty much it. Those are the most redeeming qualities of this movie. Otherwise, it's kind of like 5 anyway. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Scream. That's it. It's just Scream. It's Scream 1. So I know it's like sacrilege. A lot of people tend to think that Scream 1 is the best. And I can understand that. I can understand why originals are better than sequels because that's how it is. That's the original way of doing it. So this is the tone setter of the entire franchise. And that's fine. But as a slasher and as a movie that I enjoyed, I couldn't really enjoy it. I can appreciate it for sure for what it is and how it kind of changed the game a little bit in slashers and how it's basically just talking about other movies all the time and then that kind of happens. So it's kind of going based off what the audience is thinking. It's like, oh, this is going to be this and this is going to be that, and it's going to be the same formula again. And then they change it with Scream, and that's good. That's fantastic. Again, I like change. I embrace change. I don't like it when people try to do the same stuff over and over and over again. But I feel like this movie overall just didn't work out too well in the slasher department. It felt a little slow. By a little slow, I mean very slow. It felt very slow. There wasn't a lot of action. And anytime there was action, it lasted like 2 seconds. So anytime there was Ghostface and he came out to slash and kill someone, you would stab him one time and then the scene would end. I'm like, come on, you could have had so much going for you. It's also takes so long to get to those. It's waiting, 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 waiting. 2 seconds of action. Waiting, 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 waiting. 2 seconds of action. And I mean, this kind of seems like a movie for someone who doesn't like slasher movies. It's like, all right, this is a fantastic slasher movie for someone who's getting into slashers and they want to start light, or someone who just doesn't like them, or maybe even, honestly, a kid, because it's pretty PG-13. I mean, there's not a lot of crazy stuff. That knife looks like it's from Spirit Halloween. It looks like plastic. I swear I can see the molding of the plastic on the side, and then they spray canned it right before the movie started shooting. The blood, which is alluded to in the end of the movie with Billy saying, "Oh, it's corn syrup or whatever." I mean, it looks like corn syrup. It looks like the most watered down blood I've ever seen. It's like if you had red maple syrup. So it is very strange. It is very weird and very unrealistic looking. I mean, it's like way too unrealistic looking. I mean, in older movies, he talks about Carrie. In older movies, they had blood, fake blood. Obviously, can't use real blood, but at least it kind of looked like real blood. Like this looks nothing like real blood. And you probably guessed by now, I'm not a big meta guy. Like I talked about it earlier, I'll keep saying it. It's just I don't like it when they pull me out of the movie because they talk about themselves. It's like, hey, you watching the movie right now? Are you enjoying the movie? I bet, right? Like I don't know. It's kind of annoying. It just kind of irritates me. I just want to watch the movie, and I feel like they don't really do that. But this one, Scream One, doesn't really do that too much. It kind of talks. It just talks about movies, which it does more subtly than a lot of the sequels. They thought people liked it, and people did like it because it's an extremely popular movie. But then they just went way too overboard within the later ones. This one, the ratio is really, really good. It probably has one of the best ratios of the entire franchise about how it kind of does it, but it doesn't do it in an obnoxious way. One thing I really liked about this movie, though, is the opening scene. I think this is probably the best, or not probably, definitely the best opening scene of all the Scream movies. They kind of tried to do what this one did, but this one just did it best. I feel like I was most engaged. I'm going to be honest. I was most engaged with that opening scene. And even with the gore, like they almost promised too much than they could deliver. The opening scene was the best scene. I mean, the last scene in Scream 1 was not bad, but it actually even wasn't still as good as the opening scene. I feel like there was a lot of horror element to it. There was a lot of good, unannoying meta to it, and it was self-aware, and it kind of talked about what was going to happen, but in a more subtle way, which I can see why it shocked audiences. So it did do it extremely well. The last scene, I mean, was good enough. I didn't think it was fantastic. I thought it was pretty entertaining. It was probably one of the most entertaining parts of the entire movie because throughout the entire movie, not much is happening. It's just kind of a movie, and it feels like that this movie, I guess the best way I can describe it, it just has no real charm to it, which is unfortunate because it is a very good movie. I mean, there's nothing actually wrong with it. I mean, I wrote down notes, couldn't find anything wrong with it. I mean, it's a good movie, but movie for me, no, it really isn't. It's a little too boring. I think it's the whole slasher genre doesn't fit. I think it's more of like a psychological or mystery, I guess, thriller, you could say. That's all I got to really say with that movie. It's not bad. It's a good movie, but it has no charm. Okay, down to our top three. For number three, I have Scream 2. Yes, Scream 2 is higher than Scream because of this very simple reason. It did what Scream did in Scream 1, but just better. I thought it had better kills, it had better action. It was more engaging throughout the whole thing. I feel like it kind of flips the script a little bit, unlike Scream 1, which has the beginning and the end as the two best parts. The middle, not so bad. But for Scream 2, the middle was a lot better. And I feel like the beginning and the end of Scream 2 was by far the worst, because in the beginning of Scream 2, the first 5-10 minutes of it, or however long the opening scene is, they make me feel like the biggest douchebag watching this. They are making fun of me actively the entire time during that opening scene. I mean, it's like you see all these dudes in this theater, or all these people in this theater, and they're freaking out over Stab, this movie. It's crazy, it's cool, they love it, it's awesome, but it's kind of like ridiculing me. It's making me feel like one of those insane people in that theater who is a huge crazy fan and such a huge nerd. I mean, sure, I'm a kind of a nerd myself about a lot of horror movies, but this one just, again, just goes over a little over the top. It kind of makes me feel bad about myself. It's kind of like making me feel like that I'm some jerk watching this movie, and that they're taking my money and making fun of me for it. So I didn't enjoy the beginning scene at all. The last scene I didn't think was bad. I thought the reveal was honestly pretty good. I wasn't expecting Billy Loomis's mom, but it makes sense. And that other guy, like, that's the only guy I didn't really understand. I think he's just like a replacement Billy. I think he's just like another version of him or something. I don't know. He kind of looks like him. He's just like kind of like a Walmart ripoff version of Billy. But hey, whatever. I mean, he was a pretty decent Ghostface. It wasn't bad. But the thing about the last scene is it's kind of stupid. I mean, they're on a stage, and if you've ever seen a stage before, you know that there's a huge opening looking onto it. So Billy Loomis's mom, whatever her name, I'm gonna call her Mama Loomis. Mama Loomis, she is like struggling to coordinate this big giant stage because these styrofoam rocks are falling down, and they're like using production equipment to scare her. And it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, either take 4 steps backwards or get off the stage if it's really that bad. I mean, there are stairs on either side of the stage, or you could just hop off the stage. I mean, it's a really solvable issue, so it wasn't really a thing. They just kind of created it to make it seem more chaotic than it was. So the ending I thought wasn't very good, but like I said, the whole middle of the movie was just basically Scream, so there's nothing wrong with it, but it just did more. It was just better. I thought it was just a better version of itself. So if they would have done this with Scream 1, they take out the first scene in Scream 2 and the last scene in Scream 2. They put the whole middle section of like all the rest of the movie in Scream 1, or at least do the same thing in Scream 1 with the beginning and the ending of Scream 1, if that makes sense. Then that would be probably the best Scream movie to me, because I feel like they had to do in Scream 1 was just give more and have some charm, or just do something. But they didn't. In Scream 2, they fixed that, and I thought that they did that very, very well. All right, we're getting down to the wire. For number 2, I have Scream 4. Yes, Scream 4 is my number 2. I feel like this is a movie that's unnecessarily hated for what it is. Scream 4, I thought, by far had the best meta to self-awareness and seriousness to sort of kind of sad to funny ratio, I guess you could say. So it had all these things going on. I mean, it was a little bit sad. I mean, at some points, I mean, it wasn't a sad movie per se. It was more of just like, okay, it made you in your feels a little bit, or it made me feel like I could feel bad for certain people. It also made me giggle a couple times, especially with Rory Culkin and that other kid who's always recording everything. I thought they were a pretty funny duo, and whenever they're talking in their movie class or whatever, I thought they were funny because I thought they were like correct with everything they were saying. Also, I feel like when I say meta, I mean like the self-awareness, like I said. I know I've said that previously in the other movies, but this one just does it the best. I feel like it does it better than 1, even, because it kind of talks about movies too, but not so much to the watcher. Like, I like that when they talk about it. I don't like it when they talk about it as if they're talking to me, which even Scream 1 kind of does. But this one doesn't do that at all. But I hope you kind of get what I'm saying with it. It feels like a horror movie. It feels like it's sad at times. I feel like it's funny at times. I feel like that there's really good action. I feel like that it just does everything at the perfect time and with the perfect amount of everything. So there's not too much of this, not too much of that. There's no extra whatever and random places. It just kind of does what it's supposed to do in the best way a Scream movie can do it. This movie also, I thought, had really good gore and really good kills. I mean, when I'm watching a slasher, I look for those things. I'm not just some sort of psychopath. I mean, I could be. I don't know. But either way, I feel like it was very entertaining in that way, too, where I felt like there was just more happening and there was a little bit more that was like, maybe kind of was very cringeworthy in a good way. So that's something I do appreciate a lot in this movie as well, that I feel like was missing a little bit in the other movies. Not, a ton, but I feel like it was able to kind of give that horror vibe. I feel like this movie is also a perfect contender to tell you about the Ghostface problem. I'm sure you guys know kind of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how Ghostface is always this 5'10" to 6 foot tall man in this Ghostface suit, which is fine. But when it comes down to Emma Roberts taking off the mask or revealing that she's the killer, it's like, I don't know. That doesn't seem too realistic. I mean, she's like 5'1", 100 pounds or something. I'm not expecting her to be able to do what she's capable of in this Ghostface mask. And it's not even like Rory Culkin is like that much of a Ghostface either, because he's also kind of short and he's also like not this big built guy who's like super athletic. I mean, it's just kind of funny. It's like that in every single Scream movie, regardless of it's a short dude, a tall dude, a short girl, a tall girl, or this, or like it doesn't matter who it is. It's always the same. I feel like it's like the stunt actor. I can coordinate and I can tell who is the stunt person in every single scene because they can just be like an absolute maniac in this suit with this mask on, be super athletic, be able to take some super high pain tolerance. But then as soon as they take the mask off too, they now become this person who can't like do anything. Like they're constantly making mistakes within like 10 minutes of the end or 15, 20 minutes of the ending of every single movie. So it's like, do they gain supernatural powers when they put on this suit or they become a new person like Shazam? I don't know. Another part of this movie that I seriously enjoy is the false ending. So to be honest, I love it when Emma Roberts is like throwing herself into a picture and she's like throws herself onto the glass table, it shatters. She's like punching and scratching her face. I think it's so funny. I just find it hilarious that she's just going around, especially when she runs into the picture on the wall. But on the topic of the false ending, she supposedly kills Nev Campbell in the house, but after she kills her, they go to the hospital where Emma Roberts is like the hero for surviving Ghostface, this maniac. But it turns out Nev Campbell is actually alive. She's recovering in the hospital, and Emma Roberts gets word of this from Dewey because Dewey's always fucking everything up all the time. And she gets up, and she goes to kill Nev Campbell once and for all to make sure that her plan follows through with what it was supposed to be. And I thought, honestly, in the hospital with the fight scene, it was like the whole fight scene in the house and the craziness. And then it just does it again. It repeats itself in a different setting in a slightly different way. So I seriously enjoyed that. And then it happened again. And I'm like, yes, finally. It's so fantastic. I was like, this is what I need from all these goddamn movies. Okay, guys, this is the last one. My number one Scream movie is the most controversial Scream movie of them all, Scream 7. I know, Russell, this is a surprise to you because on our original recording, I decided 4 was better than 7. But then I realized to myself that Scream 7 is actually better because I am most likely to watch this movie out of all the other Scream movies. And I will fully admit that this is by far probably the worst Scream, but the best slasher. It just doesn't do what Scream does. So I'm not a fan of Scream. You probably could have got that from this. I mean, I don't hate them. I just don't enjoy them. But I feel like Scream 7 just does what I've been waiting for, which is action, 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 action. It just keeps going. And I feel like Ghostface just doesn't stop. This one is extremely ruthless. He's not the most psychotic, but he's the most ruthless in the way of he will just get up and keep going. Like every other movie, he gets up and runs away to try to escape, to hide his identity. But since, spoiler alert, there's this guy who doesn't really care about hiding his identity as the first Ghostface, he's just going to keep going. I mean, he'll do whatever it takes in order to kill Nev Campbell. So these scenes last so long, and I'm like, yes, finally, there are huge chunks of this movie that I can seriously enjoy because I feel like it's just a modern, good slasher movie. And I like how they just keep that going throughout the entire thing. And I like how it happens early in the movie too. It's not like it's waiting like a lot of the other movies. It's opening scene, I thought was very good. And then a little bit about the family and about Nev Campbell's daughter and whatever, just kind of getting used to things for a couple minutes. And then it gets right back into it. And then it just keeps doing it over and over and over again. So I feel like is probably the most engaging movie for me personally because I like those simple type of slasher movies. And on the subject of meta, because they have to talk about meta with every single one of these goddamn movies because it's Scream, I feel like this is another one that didn't really have any like reference to any other movie. It kind of references itself a little bit in very subtle ways. And again, I'm not a person who really likes meta, so that's probably why I don't like Scream. But I enjoyed that. I was like, you know what? It's just kind of refreshing. I can actually have this good killer who is in most of the movie, who's not like alluding to anything or trying to make it seem like that they're trying to recreate this or recreate that, which is something I seriously enjoyed with this movie. It was very refreshing. And I feel like they are fucking with you during this whole movie because one, there's three killers. There's that psycho guy you don't know that you just see in the coffee shop. He ends up having one of the best scenes, but at the end of it, he gets killed. He gets run over by a car by Gale Weathers, and he dies. And it reveals him. He's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" So after that first one, you're like, "Oh, who is it? Who is it?" There's still two people, and also I feel like I I feel like they are like messing with me a lot in the way of I genuinely think that Stu might be alive. I mean, it would be pretty cool if they brought him back because, I mean, a TV fell on his face. Does that mean you die? No. I mean, a TV can fall on your face and you can still be alive for the next 80 years. I mean, who knows? It's just kind of cool. I feel like it's like a double mask type thing where they try to do that in the way of, all right, it's Ghostface. You don't know who it is, but they're pretending to be Stu beneath the Ghostface character. So it's like when it reveals, it's like you're on a little bit on the edge of your seat. You're like, is this AI? Is it not? You know, I like how they kind of mess with you and to make you think that it is, but then times they make you think that it isn't. There is a lot of evidence going both ways, so it kind of keeps you thinking in that way, which I also really enjoy. So yeah, that's my ranking. Comment what you guys think about the Scream movies, whether you think I'm stupid or if I'm stupid. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I am all movied out.